Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Hope you're having a great Saturday morning so far. Great start to your weekend. Uh, we're going to continue to talk about the tropics in this video. I know for a lot of people who have been following my channel for a while now, I know I try to double up my videos on the weekend. And sometimes on Saturday mornings, I like to do a weekend forecast. But I'm going to step away from that only because the tropics are beginning to look more and more active. There's been some changes overnight with some model runs into this morning. Really, the big changes have happened on the GFS, where it's tagged 1 out of 3 of these areas of interest by the National Hurricane Center and makes it really a bullish scenario, making it go all the way into a hurricane, an intense hurricane. But it's just 2 model runs, the OOZ last night and the latest morning run. I'm going to show you both runs this morning, and we're going to look at the ensembles. We're going to take a look at what the European did and really try to figure out what's going on. There's 3 areas, and all of them right now in the 5-day outlook have the same chances to develop, and I'm going to show you that here in a second. But there's a couple areas that really need to be talked about. So if you guys have not subscribed, definitely hit the subscribe button, like the video. I do storm chasing videos too, not just daily weather updates. You'll see that if you go through my videos, and I do plan on chasing as many tropical systems and winter storms as I can this year. I'm not made of money, but I love, you guys give me a way to express my passion, and I appreciate that. It's just awesome to be able to do that through YouTube. So thank you all for the amazing support. Hit the subscribe button. I upload content nearly every day, unless it's just incredibly slow weather-wise. But here we go. So right now, and then I'm just going to look at the 5-day outlook. So there's this area, which was a 70% chance of develop just, I think, 24 to 36 hours ago. It's all the way down to a 30% chance to develop in the next 5 days. It doesn't look bad this morning, and I'll show you that in just a second, but all model guidance has really dropped it from having any significant future. This area right here is what the GFS has gone crazy with, and I'll show you that in a second. And then there's this area right here that the models are showing a little love to, but nothing really concrete at all. No significant development. But this one's the area we need to watch. And this one still is too. And so let's dig into this. The next name in the hurricane list is Fred, for anybody who doesn't know. I think the next name after that is Grace. G is for Grace. So that will be the next name after Fred. So who knows? We might get to them letters here, those names here in the next couple weeks. So we'll try to figure it out. So it's kind of hard to see what's going on here, but this is the area basically right here. There is an area right here it doesn't really look that great this morning. There's no real convection explosions going on here. Actually, 92L, which I don't even know if it's tagged 92L anymore. 92L right here is actually having some decent kind of convection explosions going on right now. And then you have this area right here that's the furthest west area of interest right here that has a chance to develop too, but a very, very low chance. But this, I'm going to watch this. This is all riding along the monsoon trough. There's a conveyor belt of moisture going on right here. So it's very active in the tropical Atlantic. But is any of these going to develop? So let's go on and look at this. So first off, we're going to look at the OOZ GFS, which is the run around midnight. Then we're going to look at the morning run, which is the run that came out about a couple hours ago. So here we go. So check it out here. You see this little circle right here, the little circle right here, and you got the L here. These are all the areas. So it kind of dwindles away, this one and this one, but it takes the middle one that I was just talking about. And notice, at one point, again, here, as we get into Sunday morning, it pops off a low pressure at all 3 of these. But all of a sudden, this one takes over as far as the main one that could potentially develop. It gets it going here. You notice there's still, as we get into Monday morning, that one way out in front, the most westernly wave, it's still trying to get going, but it looks like it takes whatever's left over of 92L invest and completely dissipates it. So here we go. It takes the middle one, the middle child, if you will, and we get into about midweek. This is a full-fledged hurricane just northeast or just east of the Lesser Antilles, takes it and rides it northeast of the Caribbean islands. There's a little weakness in the high pressure right here ridge of high pressure, or the Atlantic Ridge, if you will. Takes it here, gets it way off the East Coast, strengthens it big time. Well, not big time. It's probably a low-end hurricane or high-end tropical storm. It rides around the Atlantic Ridge. There's decent warm waters out there, and has it as a full-fledged hurricane way out there as we get into next Monday. So this is about 8 or 9 days out. And then goes on and carries it probably out to sea, not affecting land, just putting some big-time swells around the East Coast. You look at the latest GFS, it does something similar, but it's more intense, and it's actually a little bit closer to the East Coast. So we're going through here in time, and check out all three L's down here, all three areas of a tropical wave. But check out the middle one right here in time. As it gets going, it's a little bit different. It rides a little bit more south than the previous run. Gets going here. Check out the ridge of high pressure up here. There's one right here and one right here. But the one that's a little bit further west begins to weaken and break down. The storm probably encounters a little bit of shear in here. And then it gets going. But this is a lot closer to the Les Antilles. A lot closer. So, and even closer to Puerto Rico. In general, it's just more west. But this is taking it as a 983 low pressure as we get into around this time next weekend. So this is pretty far out, guys. Pretty far. We have so much to work out. And this is just one model run. One model run. Please keep that in mind. Ridge of high pressure here. It's riding around the southwest base of it. There's not... What happens here is it looks like the ridge of high pressure builds in a little bit more off the northeast part of the storm. So it builds in here, and it's a lot closer as we get into next Sunday to the East Coast, but it eventually begins to turn north and maybe back northeast and gets away from the coast, but not before deepening into about a 962 millibar storm well past 10 days out. So we're still going to be potentially talking about this, but this is just one model run. We might get to the 12Z runs, and it backs off from this altogether. It's just a crazy GFS. It does this sometimes. But it'll be interesting to see if the Euro bites in on this a little bit too. This moves out, and this is a strong cane as it really gets all the way off the coast of the Northeast and moves on out of here. Meanwhile, there's going to be tropical waves that's going to be coming off the coast of North Africa. One thing I want to mention here is if this scenario happens, the GFS is really starting to like the idea of, and you'll see the hurricane, the projected hurricane on the GFS pop up way over here. The GFS is liking maybe an early season cold front that sweeps through right here. And I'm showing you dew points because dew points are a great indicator of more stable air mass and cold fronts. Lower dew points is when you have cooler air. You got the tropical dew points in the southeast. And this is signaling high pressure moving down behind a cold front. And if this happens, that is a player on why this gets kind of pushed out, plus the fact that it's moving in over an area of weaker ridging. So there's actually a little trough that kind of pushes this away, potentially, if it was the form. Now you look at the GFS ensembles here, and check it out. We're sitting around the Sunday morning time frame here. So this is about 24 hours from now. You can tell. I mean, it's clear as day. There's three areas. There's this area, and this area. And this is the area that the GFS likes. So this is the GFS ensembles. Takes it all here, clusters them all together, and there's a signal. But I'll tell you one thing. The GFS ensembles takes that middle storm and has it a lot more south, the latest ensembles does, and carries it over the Caribbean islands. So one thing I will be interested is if the GFS continues with liking that middle storm, if it starts to tick a little bit more south, that would spell bad news for the U.S. If, I'm throwing ifs, like crazy, if something like the GFS scenario happens. So I noticed that they've all kind of ticked a little bit more south. You look at the European, and I'll tell you what, the European shows little clusters right here, but the European doesn't really give anything any love. It does take that middle one, and it does have like a little surge of tropical moisture, a tropical wave, if you will, and kind of throws it into the southeast eventually. But the European kind of shows a front that kind of moves down also, but doesn't clear the entire eastern U.S. So, one thing I will say is the European does get the wave and brings it a little bit more south, kind of like the latest GFS. So that'll be something to watch. The European ensembles doesn't really show anything much attention. There is an area right here that pops up here, right here, but then there's a couple little bubbles right here. But the ensembles really, for the European, the EPS ensembles, really isn't that impressive. One thing I want to show you here is, I tell you what, the Caribbean waters, the Gulf of Mexico is in the upper 80s. Some areas it's probably 90 degrees. If anything gets in here, anything, guys, there is not going to be a whole lot that's going to stop it from rapidly intensifying. So you want to pray that nothing gets into this good old hot water in the Gulf of Mexico right here, because it's just getting hotter and hotter. You know, there hasn't been a lot of tropical activity here in a couple months. Since I don't forgot the name, that kind of Claudette or something, I believe, that went through here in the Gulf of Mexico. And there's sufficiently warm waters here in the mid 80s, the low to mid 80s here, way out here, for anything to sustain any tropical development. Now, I will mention here, and let's take a closer look at these. This is the area that the GFS likes. Notice there's just not a lot going on. Be interested to see if we can get some convection explosions. The GFS wants there to be a big time convective explosion here off that storm it likes here this afternoon. So we'll be interested to see if that actually happens. Then you got the one that has a 10% chance to develop in the next 5 days. Looking pretty healthy this morning. I will notice there's an area right here that's almost like an upper level low. It might be kind of like a Tut interaction here that has drier air. It's going to fight some shear right here. Whatever develops, and I honestly think that's what's going to end up kind of killing the one out in front. So there's actually some unfavorable conditions right here briefly, and I'll kind of show you that here. If you look right into, well, that's a little bit far out, right into here. And sorry guys, my internet's moving a little bit slower this morning. You look right into here, there's a little bit of shear, and you're getting here in time. So anything that kind of pops up here, and it shows that tropical wave right here, is going to be fighting some shear on probably the northwest side, and really just the entire north side of the storm. A site that I love that I haven't showed much, might be a little small on your screen. It's going to be kind of hard to see, but this is the U.S. right here. This is the Caribbean islands. This is Cuba. This is the northern part of South Africa. I meant South Africa, South America. And this is the areas right here, the tropical waves, the Lesser Antilles, Barbados. So there's actually, these tropical waves, are not in very favorable conditions. The northern edges of their energy is. But if they can take this route, they'll get in favorable conditions right here. And obviously this is going to change in time. But I think there's going to be an area, if anything gets up here, just northeast of the Lesser Antilles, there's going to be a time frame where it's going to enter some unfavorable conditions, I think. And I think this is going to stay true. There's a little upper level low interaction here. It's going to throw some strong shear temporarily, but it doesn't look like it stays for a while. But then the conditions get more favorable up here. But this is right now, so this is going to change a little bit. But that's all I got, guys. I'm going to get a little bit more detail with a video a little later here. I got some things to do today, but definitely, guys, if you haven't followed me on Twitter, definitely do so. I'm very active on Twitter, and so it's a great way to interact with me, to interacting in the comments when I can't officially answer all the time as much as I like. But definitely hit me up on Twitter. That's a great way to interact with me. But thank y'all for the amazing support. Y'all have a great Saturday. Try to stay dry, whoever's wet out there, and I'll keep y'all updated a little bit later this evening.